You tell yourself, okay, I'm ready. I'm ready to do this healing thing, right? You feel like you educated yourself enough, right? You understand what's going on with you. You know what you need to work on. So you start paying attention. You start trying to show up different. You start telling yourself you're going to stay consistent. And then something shifts, right? It gets uncomfortable. Your body starts reacting a certain way. Your thoughts get louder. You get this overwhelmed, irritated, tired, and then you shut down. And before you even realize what happened, you just stop. Now you're in this familiar place again, right? You're in this cycle. I want to keep going, but something is stopping me. And it feels like this invisible force is getting in the way. And you don't know how to fight something that you cannot see. And that's confusing as hell. Because on the surface, it feels like you're doing everything right. You educated yourself. You're aware and you're willing and you want to heal. So why does it keep feeling like you're hitting this wall, this invisible wall, every time you get close? Why does this healing process start feeling unsafe the moment it asks more of you? That's what we're going to talk about in this episode. Because what usually get in the way isn't the lack of effort. Believe it or not, it's biology. It's something that happens inside of you and it's trying to protect you. But before we dive into all of that, let me introduce myself to the people that is new here. Hi, my name is Rose. I'm your host here at A Sister Love Podcast, and I'm just one woman with one voice trying to help other women heal, one story at a time. And if you're a woman who is in the beginning stages of their healing journey and don't know where to start and is searching for resources, support, and education, then you are in the right place. I would love for you to become part of our sisterhood. All you have to do is hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification so that you never miss another episode of A Sister's Love Podcast. And also, don't forget to join our Facebook group, Sister Let's Heal Together. It's where we keep the conversation going, share stories, support each other along the way. So before we really get into the details of this episode, let's do a recap of the last few episodes. In episode 3, we talked about the nervous system, because if your nervous system isn't regulated, you're going to stay in survival mode. No matter how much you want to heal or how much work you're going to do, you will stay there. Then in episode 4, we talked about guilt, the guilt that shows up when you start choosing yourself, the guilt that slows you down and makes you question whether you're doing too much or you have to minimize your pain. And then in episode 5, we talked about self-hate, how not knowing how to love yourself turns into fear of loss, fear of change, fear of becoming someone you don't recognize yet. And the reason I want to talk about all of that first is because the roadblocks that shows up for you when you start trying to create safety for yourself. I didn't want you to walk into this part blind, right? I also want to be honest with you. I only talk about the roadblocks that I had a major impact on my healing experience. I'm not here to sell you this perfect healing story or act like I figured everything out. I teach from my own experience because that's the only place I can speak from truthfully. Now, I have more roadblocks than these 3, but this is not the season 4. So we can talk about that more later. So when I first start thinking about safety, I thought I understood it. For me, when I thought about safety, I thought about relationships, right? That's where most of my trauma happened. So I figured if relationships broke me, relationship would heal me. So that's where I put all my energy, right? I focus on learning how to be in friendships without people pleasing, right? How to date without losing myself, how to interact with people without trying to control the outcome. And honestly, I did a pretty good job. Pat on the back. But what I didn't realize at the time was that while I was building safety in relationships, I was completely ignoring other parts of my life. The first thing that showed up for me was my health. I don't like doctors. I don't trust them. I avoid them. I told myself God would handle this. I told myself I was fine until I wasn't, right? I had to go. I had to sit with this discomfort and trust somebody who knew more about my body than I did. And that was scary, but it was also necessary. And once I handled that, something else popped up, right? Money. I had a job. I was working, but I was living check to check. I didn't feel secure. I didn't understand money the way I needed to. And that's when it hit me, right? Safety isn't just one thing, right? You can feel safe in a relationship and still feel unstable everywhere else. You can do the work and still be one crisis away from being put back into survival mode. And that's when I realized healing doesn't work when safety only exists in one area of your life. It has to exist in multiple places. So in this episode, that's what we're really going to talk about, what safety is missing and why. Where is safety missing and why? So let's talk about what safety is first. When most people first hear creating safety, they think about danger. Like, I need to get out of something unsafe. I need to remove myself from an immediate threat. And yes, sometimes that is true. But honestly, about 90% of the time, there is no real danger happening in the moment. What we're reacting to is perceived danger. So when we talk about creating safety, it doesn't mean that everything is always going to feel calm or mellow. It doesn't mean life is suddenly going to become relaxed. That's a false narrative, and I don't want to tell you that. Creating safety doesn't mean nothing hard will ever happen or come up. What creating safety actually means is this. It gives you the ability to deactivate your survival instinct when you're in fight, flight, or freeze. It gives you the ability to bring yourself back into the present moment so that you can handle whatever is happening in your logical brain and not in your reactive one. And that's the important part, right? Because this invisible wall that you keep hitting, right? It has nothing to do with the motivation. It has nothing to do with the discipline. It has nothing to do with how bad you want healing, right? It has everything to do with your biology. When you hit that wall, your body is protecting you. It's in protection mode. You're in your reactive brain. And when you're in your reactive brain, you cannot think logically. That's why in that moment you stop, you get frustrated, you overwhelm, and you shut down. And then later, once you calm down, you're like, damn, wait, I really want to do this. I don't actually want to quit. I want to move forward. And that's because once you're calm down and back in the present moment, your logical brain comes back online. And when you experience trauma, your brain will literally hide certain memories and thoughts from you until it feels like it's safe enough for you to access them. Thinking about those things, these activities, your brain do not want to stay there, right? It's too much. It's too exhausting to live there. So when we talk about creating safety, we have to look at it from two angles. Internal safety, what's happening inside your body and mind, right? And an external safety, what is happening in your environment and in your life. And that's what we're going to start breaking down next. So the easiest way for me to explain the difference between internal and external safety is just to tell you how I experienced it. When I started healing, most of my trauma comes from relationships, interpersonal trauma. So in my mind, I knew that if relationship were what hurt me, then relationship is going to be part of the healing too. That meant I couldn't heal in isolation forever. I had to be in community. I had to be around people again, right? But in order to do that, I had to be present with myself first. So I had to learn how to create safety inside of me before I could even think about safety outside of me. Internal safety for me was about my mental and emotional state. It was about being able to notice when something came up in my body, when I got triggered, when my thoughts started to race, and being able to stay with myself through it. No matter where I was, no matter who I was with, no matter what the situation looked like. That was the internal safety that I had to create. I was also physical, being able to protect my body, being able to listen to my body, and being able to say no when something didn't feel right. Then there was external safety. External safety was about people that I chose to be around, the spaces that I put myself in, the environment that I allow myself to stay in, right? I had to trust that the work I did internally would kick in if something didn't feel right. And I also had to trust that the people who I was choosing to interact with would respect my boundaries and meet me where I was in my healing process. And that was the scariest part, right? Because that meant trusting myself and trusting other people at the same time. But as I started doing that, I realized something else, right? There are so many areas in life that need safety, and it has to be a balance. If it's not a balance, you'll literally be one trigger away from activating your survival instincts. And what I noticed was that because my trauma happened in relationship, I focused almost all my energy on relationship safety. And I ignore everything else. But healing doesn't work like that. You can't create safety in one area in your life and ignore the rest and expect to feel stable. That's why awareness is so important. You have to be able to see the areas in your life where safety is missing and not just the obvious ones. Once you can see them, you can start creating a balance. And once there's a balance, you're not constantly one step away from being overwhelmed. So for us to create balance, we first have to become aware of where safety is missing in our life. And the way I did that was by sitting with myself and really asking what areas of my life actually feel unsafe. So I'm going to share with you the main areas I had to create safety in. And there might be more for you, but these are the big areas that came up for me. The first one was physical safety. And I want to be really clear about this. Physical safety means my body is not in harm's way. Nobody is hurting me. Nobody is trying to hurt me. I'm not hurting myself. I'm feeding my body. I have access to healthy food and desired food. That means I'm not putting toxic things in my body. I'm not neglecting my body. I'm not cutting myself. I'm not abusing myself. I am not allowing anybody else to do those things either. Then comes emotional safety. Emotional safety is about how I feel. Do I feel safe expressing myself? Do I feel safe saying how I feel? Do I feel like I can say something without being attacked, judged, shut down, or made to feel crazy? And let me make this clear. Feelings doesn't mean truth. Feelings are experiences. So emotional safety isn't about whether your feelings is right. It's about whether you're allowed to express them without being punished for doing so. Then there's mental safety. Where is my mind at in this environment? Am I mentally okay right here? Am I constantly overwhelmed? Am I spiraling? Am I dissociated? A lot of people do not realize this, but you can be mentally unsafe. We have things like anxiety, depression, ADHD, bipolar disorder. If you are experiencing those things without support, without tools, without understanding how to manage them, then that means that you're not mentally safe yet. Then the next one for me was medical safety, and this one was hard. I don't trust no doctors. As a Black woman, you heard the stories. So finding a doctor that I can trust, finding a therapist that I can trust, finding medical advice that actually worked for me and medication that worked for me, that was a lot. And it was very important to me. And then there's financial safety. And we're not talking about having a job, because we could have a job and still be financially unsafe. Living paycheck to paycheck is stressful as fuck. Watching your money come in and disappear is stressful as fuck. Always looking for the next dollar is stressful as fuck. So financial stability means understanding your money, knowing how to manage it, and knowing how to plan it, not feeling like you're constantly drowning. Then there's your home safety. Just because you have a roof over your head doesn't mean your home feels safe. Do you feel comfortable in your home? Do you feel at peace there? Do you have a space for yourself? Home is supposed to be a place where your body can relax. Then we go into relationship safety, starting with a romantic relationship. Can you be yourself in this relationship? Can you speak up? Can you express your needs without fear of abuse, abandonment, or being shut down? Then there's friendships and social safety. Do you feel safe around the people that you call your friends? Can you show up as yourself? Can you talk openly? Do you feel respected? And then there's family safety. And this one is important. Just because someone is family does not mean they are safe. Family can be the most triggering people in your healing process. They can bring up the most pain and they can cross boundaries. So creating safety here often means boundaries, even when it's uncomfortable. And lastly, environmental safety. Even if your home feels safe, what happens when you walk outside? Does that neighborhood feel safe? Does your job feel safe? Do certain places trigger anxiety, memories, or fears? Environmental matters. Certain places can activate survival mode instantly. So when you look at all of this together, safety isn't one thing, it's a balance. Before creating a safety plan, the first step is awareness. Awareness means identify which areas of your life lack safety and why. A safety plan cannot be effective if the areas that require support is unclear. The process below begins by identifying key areas and then apply a universal method that assesses safety within each one of them. The following are the main areas in which safety must be assessed. The areas that we identify is based on experiences, right? Additional areas might apply based on your circumstances. The first one is physical safety, emotional safety, mental safety, medical safety, financial safety, home safety, romantic safety, safety with social and friendships, family safety, and number 10, environmental safety. We're going to follow these steps to assess each area listed above. The process applies universally to all areas of your life. Step 1, observe reaction. Notice physical, emotional, and mental response when engaging in each of these areas. Indicators of reduced safety includes persistence, tension, or alertness, strong reaction to minor stressors, difficult relaxing or focusing. Step 2, identify avoidance. Avoidance often indicate instability. Examples include repeating, delaying tasks, avoiding people, conversations, or responsibilities, using distractions to prevent engagement. Step 3, track your overcompensation. Overcompensation involves excessive effort and preventing discomfort, common signs, overworking, overplanning, overexplaining, over excessive control. Step 4, identify suppression. Suppression often when need or response are withheld. Indicators include not talking or not speaking up, minimizing concerns, ignoring discomfort to avoid consequences. Now, step 5, access to predictability. Determine whether outcomes are consistent. Questions to consider, right? Are your expectations clear? Do your response change without warning? Is behaviors predictable? Unpredictability reduce safety. Now, step 6, evaluate recovery time. Access how long it takes to return to baseline after stress. Indicators of reduced stress is prolonged emotional activation, right? Difficulty calming down. Stress response that linger. Now, step 7, ask a direct question, right? For each area, ask, do I feel able to be present here without remaining on alert? If the answer is no, then safety is limited in that area. I hope you got all of that. If you didn't, I got you. You know, I put all the exercises that we do here in our Facebook group, Sister Let's Heal Together, located in our resource center. So don't worry, I got you. So let's stop here. I feel like we covered a lot in this episode, and I really don't want to overload you or leave you feeling overwhelmed, because that's usually how we end up stuck again. And the whole point of this work is to help you move forward. So right now we have a starting point, and that's enough for today. So after this episode, all I want you to do is focus on awareness pieces, right? Pay attention to the areas in your life that need safety and start noticing why they need safety. In the next episode, episode 7, we're going to move into the next step of this process of creating safety. We'll start talking about the actual safety plan. The term for that is stabilization, but what really it means is to deal with your trigger when something happens, right? We're going to talk about the things that you can do on a day-to-day basis and the things you can do in the moment, short-term support and ongoing support. But we'll get into all that next episode. For now, I want to leave you with one thing, right? Be patient with yourself. I know it can feel like you're behind sometimes, like you're rushing to catch up, but when you rush, you miss things, you skip steps, and we assume we know things that we actually don't know yet. So be patient. Trust that you're exactly where you're supposed to be right now, even when it doesn't feel like it. There's a reason that you're here. Trust the process. And before I go, I just want to say thank you again for giving me your time. Thank you for listening. Thank you for staying with me through this whole episode. And I say this all the time, but I know time is valuable and I don't take it lightly that you choose to spend your time here with me. And I just want to also say, if you're not in the Facebook group, why? Because we miss you and we was looking for you and I didn't see you. So please come be part of our group. We really want to support you. And I really would love for you to be part of our sisterhood. So join us. All right. All right. Until next time, sign out your sister love. Bye. Ow, I hit the thing. Bye.